Right. Now we're going to discuss in detail about the pros and cons of Python. On the other word, we can, term this as advantages and disadvantages of a Python. Okay. First thing we'll discuss about the advantages. Okay. Always negativity second. First is that, easy syntax. Easy syntax. Okay. The benefit that you get out of here is that that Python is a dynamic programming language. Okay. That means, right, you may have to write a lot of codes and a lot of syntax, but when you write those syntax, right, you don't feel the pain of writing a syntax because the syntax that you associate with Python is very like English, the normal conversation. Okay. Even the beginners can learn. Beginners in the sense, even the people who goes for schools, colleges, right, they can learn it easily. But this is not the case with the other languages like Java or C, C++ because the syntax complexity is very high, but here it has easy syntax. So it's very easy to pick up and start learning. Okay. Next is productivity. Productivity means the efficiency that it gives you when it gives you the result. Okay, that's what important, right? Any software language you work upon to create a project or a product, at the end of the day, it should satisfy, it should meet our productivity. Productivity means it should solve the problem in such a way that I get a efficient output. Okay, it gives the efficient output. That's what important. Okay, how does it produce the efficient output? Lesser the syntax you write. More the code you have, the more the process that take time. The more the process it takes time, the efficiency will be very less. But it is opposite to this. Since I'm going to have a lesser syntax, and because the lesser syntax, I'm going to have a lesser number of code. Lesser number of code means quick process. At the end of the day, I'm going to end up with a high productivity. Okay. So you know that Python is a interpreter programming language, correct? What does it mean? Everything happens on a runtime. Okay. So because it happens dynamically, it reads a character by character, line by line. Okay. It is not gonna compile. As everybody knows, Python not gonna have any compilation. So it is gonna interpret everything. While it is interpreting, it reads the character by characters or line by line by line. So what is the benefit that we get when it happens or when it runs line by line? Obviously it can easily catch or throw error whenever it sees that. So what happened? The errors can be easily rectified. The errors are easily rectified. In other terms, debugging is very simple because of this interpreter mechanism. Okay. Next one is that dynamic. Okay, even though we discussed everything separately in the start of Python, let me again put the dynamic as one of the major advantages that you associate with Python. Okay, dynamic program language means you're not going to create any pre-memory. Okay, so if you don't create any pre-memory, what is the benefit that you get? Less memory loss. Okay, less memory loss. So whatever the data that you're going to store, it is going to keep within the exact memory that is needed for that particular data. So either memory is not wasted or the memory is less created. Okay, the next advantage is open source. Since it is available for free, right, anybody or everybody can access it easily. So I'm reducing the burden of paying a hefty amount to buy a license of the particular software. Now this is a open source which is of free. Okay, now sixth one is libraries, or I can say packages. It has a lot of inbuilt packages. So what happened? If it is Java, when I want to connect to the server, imagine the line that I have to write is very high. But whereas in Python, you can avoid the number of lines just by importing the corresponding or necessary libraries to utilize that. Okay. So in that case, right, Python has tons and tons of libraries. Of course, when you install a Python, it gives you only few libraries for you to, have a look at it. But in nature, Python gives you lot of libraries which you can download externally either by pip or by means of other source. Last I can say are The least one is portability. Portability in the sense it is easily compatible with any other software language. Okay, it is not system dependence. It is not system dependence. Okay, that's what's portability. Or you can say that the compatibility is very very easy and very very simple. You can run this code in any environment. Okay, that's the beauty of this thing. You can run in Windows, you can run in Linux. So these are the various advantages that you associate yourself with Python. Portability or compatibility. Now let us focus on disadvantages. The first disadvantage is it's very slow. Obviously, because we discussed that in our line number 3. Because of it interprets, it reads character by character. The more it reads the character by character, slow it becomes. So it is very slow than that of the other language. Okay. So it is not so good at memory efficiency. Okay. Not good at memory efficiency in case. Okay, because when it stores data, right, it creates a lot of memory. Of course, this is the same thing or the same principle that you apply with other language as well. But here, I can say even I cannot keep this as a part of disadvantage, but that's how it works. When I want to categorize that, of course, I need to take the memory efficiency into the disadvantage. Okay, and it is not good at computing, at least a mobile computing. Not good at mobile computing. It is not as easy as other languages in case of mobile computing. It is very, very slow. So I can say these are the minor disadvantages that you normally associate with Python. Of course, there are a lot of disadvantages that you can tell, but it is minor glitches. Major slowness is the only problem, and it is not so good at memory and also with the mobile computing. But rest of the things, everything that you see in Python is always advantageous. Okay, that's why every company, every project now they started migrating their languages to Python because of the advantage they produce. That's what. So when you compare the advantages with that of the disadvantages, so the ratio is very, very high with respect to the advantage. So people don't care much about disadvantages. Okay. This is what the difference is. We'll see in some other video. Thank you. Right. Hi guys, welcome back to another video and another topic. So here we're going to discuss about two important categories that Python do have in their data types. Okay. So first we'll see what are the data type Python 2 supports in general, even though we discussed little earlier, but it's better that we'll refresh that again. So data types that Python supports are string. Data type that Python supports are string, list, tuple, dictionary, and of course number. This is primitive data type that it supports. Along with this one, there are secondary data types that Python 2 supports which we don't use normally or frequently. Set and frozen set. Okay, here the data types that I have mentioned there gets categorized into two things. Okay, category one is mutable. What is mutable? Anything that can be modified in their existing object with index position. That means when you want to do the changes to the existing object by their index position, that is called mutable. So list and dictionary belongs to mutable category. Immutable means anything that can't be modified by their index position on the existing object. Don't get confused with respect to the statement that I given. More or less same. English was changing. So basically, Mutable means you can do the modification. Immutable means you cannot do the modification. As simple as that. Okay. Right. So immutable means string, numbers, tuples, and frozen set. Of course, frozen set we're not going to focus, but still. Okay, remove the frozen set. As of now, we're going to focus only on the primitive data type. So these are the categories. These are the things that we call it as mutable and immutable. List and dictionary belongs to mutable, and string, number, and tuples belongs to immutable category. Let me give you a short example for mutability. So where is equal to Dhoni. As everybody knows, except for dictionary, all the other data types store their characters, store their data on the index position. If that is the case, D is in 0th index, H is in first index, O is in second index, N is in third index, and I is in fourth index. So these are the data that is part of this variable, and these are the corresponding indexes that the data got stored. Now, to see the data on a specific index, I need to do this variable of 0. What does it mean? I'm trying to print 0th index of my variable. So let me comment out the rest of the character. 0th index of my variable is letter D. That's how you can show index. You can print an index. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the changes to this. Okay, look at that. Where of 4? Where of 4 is what? Letter I. Now the letter I is going to get replaced by letter Y. Okay. After that, if you print variables, I'm expecting that I from this variable needs to be get replaced with a letter called Y. Okay. Now when I run, look at that. It says type error. String object does not support item assignment. So this is the evidence that yes, this string is immutable. You cannot do the changes. So to your tuple as well. Let me just create a tuple on top of this. So let me take Dhoni and let me take Kohli. These two are the data type of a tuple. Now what I'm going to do? Variable of 1. What is variable of 1? Kohli. Now I'm trying to replace Kohli with the data of Rohit, and this is the tuple data. Okay. So now when I run, look at that same error. Tuple object does not support item assignment. So these two are the evidence that yes, tuple belongs to immutable category. Now the same thing, but I'm going to do with the list. Okay, I'm going to do with the list. But look at that. Now Kohli is easily got replaced by Rohit. Look at that line number 28. Kohli is replaced by Rohit. So this is the clear evidence that yes, your list is mutable category. You can do the changes. Okay, so let me put heading just if you want to see. Okay, list, tuple, string, tuple, and list. Okay, right. Now let me focus on dictionary. Where is equal to name comma name colon Tony age colon 33. So you know that this is how the dictionary get represented. Okay, so print of where of name. This is the way you will be retrieving data in dictionary. Okay, via this syntax. Via this syntax. Okay, so now what happens when I try to print variable of name? It will return Dhoni. Why? Because we're going to see that in detail in dictionary, but in dictionary we cannot do the index based manipulation. We have to do the key based manipulation. If that is the case, this is how I can retrieve the data of the specific key. So output is Dhoni. Now what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the changes. Where of name is equal to Kohli. So what I'm basically trying to do is that I'm trying to replace Kohli by Dhoni by Kohli. Let me see whether it works. And it works. Forget about the first output. Don't get confused. Look at that. Name is now having Kohli as a data. The Dhoni, which is already there as a part of a dictionary, now got replaced by the data called Kohli. Now this is the another evidence that yes, dictionary is a mutable. And number, you know that, right? There is no need to show example. By default, number is a number, you cannot modify it. So these are the two broader categories that you do have associate with the Python: mutable, dictionary, and list, which you can do the changes to the existing object on an index. If it is a dictionary, on a key. And the tuple and string are immutable, where you cannot do the modification on the existing object by their index position. This is what the major category that everybody needs to understand. Okay, so please do understand this as a base, guys, so that as you go forward with detailed concept, you will understand it. Okay.